Hi, I'm Darlene Carman.
And I'm Doug Carman.
And welcome to the show. When we did a show with Amy Phelps, veteran zookeeper for the Oakland Zoo, about 6 months ago, we found out about Benghazi, the painting giraffe. We just had to go to the zoo to see Benghazi at work. I've always wanted to do a giraffe painting, and seeing the giraffes again made me think about that. So we went a few years ago, and this baby was born, and her name is Batiti, which in Swahili means little lady. Standing next to her is her father, Kojo, which means born on a Monday. Currently, there are about 9 giraffes at the zoo.
No, now we're going to take you to the zoo, where we spent a wonderful day with Benghazi and Benghazi's assistant while he painted.
Here today with Darren Minier, zoological manager for the Oakland Zoo, and he's going to tell us about Feed the Beast Day.
Feast for the Beast, yeah.
Feast for the Beast.
Do it. It's an event that we do twice a year, and on this year coming up in July 26th, we'll have the zoo opening up at 9 o'clock. The first 250 people get to bring produce and foods, put them inside of the elephant exhibit, and then watch as the elephants go and scrounge around to find all of the little feasts that have been left for them.
So we're talking, do they eat bananas?
Oh, they love bananas, absolutely. Bananas, apples, melons, watermelons, any of your summer fruits and vegetables from the garden. They're absolutely perfect. No pesticides, of course, and the keepers do go through all of the produce to make sure everything is safe. But we also have different feedings throughout the day as well. We're partnering with Primal Pet, who is providing all of our meat diets, different types of beef and pork, and so a lot of our animals that do eat meat will be being given different types of enrichment. So the meats in boxes, the meats in icicles, a bunch of different types of things to encourage them to eat. But we have feedings throughout the zoo, throughout the entire day. It's just a fun time to bring your family and the kids and watch the animals enjoy.
So what are the type of animals that like the meat? I know elephants, no.
Not elephants, no. But the lions, the tigers, our meerkats, a lot of our birds will eat meats.
And so
some
they
of our
take the meat and they go 1, 2, 3, throw?
We actually, the keepers will have feeding times for a lot of the meat diets.
Yes.
Because the meat with the salmonella and the questions, that type of thing, we want to make sure that it's safe not only for the public but for our animals as well. So we handle our meat diets very particularly.
They watch mainly.
So they have feeding times that we'll be giving the enrichment to the animals. It's a lot of fun, and it's a day full of activities.
And this happens more than once. It's twice a year, I think you told me?
Twice a year, so in the fall and again in the summer.
Very nice. So tell us more about the type of foods that they like to eat. What specifically do they like to eat?
Well, it depends a lot on the personality of the animal. So they all have different tastes, just like we do. Some of us like spicy, some of us like sweet, some like tart. And so for the elephants, apples is always a fun one. Melons, watermelon is a great summer treat.
I can go with that,
especially frozen. But they also like potatoes, sweet potatoes, a lot of the different types of tubers and the roots. Most definitely a favorite for them as well.
Oh, and then like the cantaloupe. Who would eat the cantaloupe?
A lot of the animals like the cantaloupe. It's sweet.
And the rind and everything.
Rind and everything, yep. And so we do offer a lot of our animals the food unprocessed, so we don't cut it up, so that they actually have to work for it. Other animals, if they have really tiny small mouths, like birds with the tiny beaks, we'll chop it up small so that they can eat those. But for a lot of our primates, a lot of like the giraffes and eland, we don't do big giant cuts of the food so that they have to work at it just like they would in the wild.
Well, I think we've all had relatives that eat too fast. I've got a couple of those, and you're trying to eat with them and they're just like shoveling it down. So
and it's definitely a concern. We want them to be able to replicate their natural behavior that they would have out in the wild. We have behavioral observers that go around the zoo, and we actually look at how much time are our animals spending resting, spending walking around, spending feeding, and how we feed and give them the food is a big part of that, and we compare it to the activity budgets that scientists are collecting of the animals in the wild, and we try to replicate that as accurately as possible.
Yes, that's great.
So our animals, like we had mentioned, do eat a lot of produce, and most of the time we do leave it whole, but a lot of times we chop it up as well. And so what our volunteer here is doing is chopping up the produce that goes into tongue puzzles for our giraffes. It encourages them to eat the pelleted diet that has all of their vitamins and minerals and everything that they need to be happy and healthy, and encourages them to eat it with the produce inside. And they use their tongue in a way that they would be using to pull the leaves off of a branch. So it encourages natural behavior. We hang these tongue puzzles around the exhibit and in their night house areas, along with tons and tons of tree branches that are harvested throughout the zoo and throughout our Oakland community to encourage our giraffes to have not only natural behavior, but as close to natural diet as possible.
What kind of paint are you using?
They are non-toxic tempera paints, or tempera paints rather, so that if he gets any of it in his mouth, it's not toxic to him.
Yeah. And how much do you get on yourself?
A lot. Usually more than he gets on the canvas, but we'll find out. It depends on the day.
Now, do you think that Benghazi actually knows the different colors?
Yeah, I think he does. They have pretty decent color vision, so they should be able to at least see the difference between like yellow and red, green and orange, things like that. Similar colors might look the same to them, like purple and blue probably look the same.
Yeah.
But they definitely see some color and a wide variety of the degrees of brightness.
And does Benghazi let you know when he's done?
He does. But usually it's just when he's full.
Oh,
So
okay.
he'll paint until we're out of snacks.
So, actually, do you really think that he's enjoying this process, or is it just the snacks, or can you see some sign that he's enjoying it?
I think he enjoys it because I think he knows that it makes him special.
Aww.
Because he's the only giraffe that does it. And just like your dogs at home or your kids at home, they like to have their own individual talents and do their own thing. So,
Well, what kind of traits did you notice in Benghazi that you thought he might like to paint instead of some of the others? Or did you try some of the others?
we've tried some of them, and they'll do it for a snack, but they don't seem to like it the way he does. And he's very oral. He likes to bite things and grab things with his mouth, so this gives him a constructive activity.
Which
for his
brings
mouth.
the question up, how many sticks did you go through? In this case, brushes. Did you start out with sticks or
We
brushes?
actually started with brushes, and we've had the same brushes for many years.
So he didn't bite them? He didn't try to eat them or bite them?
He tried to eat one initially. So we taught him that what he has to do is grab the paintbrush, drag it on the canvas, and then open his mouth and drop it either on the ground or into my hand, and that way he can paint but not eat the paintbrush.
Are you doing any research? Anybody documenting this and doing research of any sort on this process that you're doing?
No, we haven't done research, but we do. He does it often, and we use it as a gift to people that are valuable volunteers, people that are important to the zoo, gifts for special needs visitors that we have, things like that.
And so in a way, though, you are documenting it because you've done all kinds of filming about it.
Yeah, we film it.
So do you see any progress from like when he started? How long ago?
Oh, probably 5 or 6 years now.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So have you seen? And what do you do with the paintings? That I have to ask.
He's definitely better at it than he used to be, and we give them all away. So we either use them in auction fundraisers, or we give them as gifts to people. So Actually, I don't think I have one at all, personally, and I've been his keeper for 15 years.
Well, I have an idea doing it, what other artists do. They make note cards and sell it. You could sell it in the gift shop. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a winner,
That is a great idea.
Yeah, because, I know that they make elephant poo into paper.
Sometimes.
Yeah, there's an outfit that's
paperweights.
doing that and using it, and so I think having some note cards would be cool.
It would be.
Yeah?
It would be.
Good idea.
Benghazi note cards.
I have to look at my notes. So we're here with Amy Phelps, and she's going to help Benghazi paint. And That sounds like a lot of fun. We have to eat first, the carrots.
Well,
I paint with the carrots, but you have to eat the carrots. People
does.
always ask me, if I eat the carrots.
That you paint with?
So,
You would eat them.
yeah, so what's the process here? What do we eat first? Yes.
Well, he likes to have a little snack, and snacks are always good when you have visitors. So he's enjoying some nice, cool, crunchy carrots on a hot day, which is very refreshing. And then when he goes to paint, he'll get lettuce and bananas, which is a higher value treat. So it's like giving him a $20 bill instead of a $5 bill when he does something right. But you can see just how big they are when you get them right next to you. So this is Benghazi. Benghazi is one of our older males.
And giraffes don't spit, do they?
No,
like some of
they
the
do
other
not.
the
They
camels,
drool,
and they
but
drool.
they don't spit.
So I'm sorry, you were saying how old he was?
He is 17.
Oh, 17.
And so he's one of our older giraffes. He was born here at the Oakland Zoo, and his mom lives here, and his brothers and sisters live here. And he's been here his whole life.
Well, I had a question about age. Now, you just kind of answered. He's 17. I was going to ask you if you think age might have something to do. If they're younger, they're more adventurous and might want to paint, or maturity with age. What would you think?
I think it's more an individual personality, and it's also just like any other animal. The more you, Benghazi, he wants to talk too. The more you teach them to do when they're younger, the more likely they are to be open to trying new things their whole life. So it's just like if you have a dog that you never take outside of your backyard,
Yes.
when you walk them down the street, they're going to be afraid of strangers and mailboxes and birds flying by and things like that. It's just the same with these guys. If they're never exposed to anything different and they never try anything different, then they're always nervous. But we expose them to everything that we can when they're little, and we make everything a positive reinforcing experience. So we teach them that investigating new things gets you a treat. Meeting new people gets you a treat.
Good
so that
philosophy.
they find investigating things rewarding.
Now, what about the neck? I've seen, well, not for real, but I've seen pictures and read articles about horses painting and so forth. So what about the long neck? Do you think it's a help or a hindrance, all those muscles and everything?
I think the neck itself is probably a hindrance to us because it's hard. It's hard to get the canvas in the right place to make it easy for him to reach it, and not in a place where he can't knock the canvas over and things like that. But the muscles in their mouth would definitely make it easier for them. They have very strong lips and a very strong tongue. So you can see how he moves his upper lip around sort of like a finger.
Yes.
To grab things, and they'll stick their tongue out and wrap it around things and pull them into their mouth.
Are we getting the teeth?
They have excellent dexterity in their mouth, and that enables them to pull individual leaves off of plants, but it also means that their lips and their jaws are very strong. So it would make it easier for him to hold a paintbrush.
Look at that. Oh boy, are we having fun.
Their mouths are just like a hand without a thumb. So it sort of makes sense that he would paint with his mouth, because that is his hand.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Shall we let him paint?
Well, sure.
Let him give it a try?
Why not?
Can you
Back
see?
up. Stop that. What is wrong with you? Hi, baby. Hello. Hi.
Get her to turn the painting this way towards the camera a little bit.
Amy, can you turn the painting towards us?
No, because he has to hit the canvas.
Is there a way to turn
Can
the
we turn
painting around
the
so-
painting just a little bit more towards us?
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, perfect.
I know it's awkward.
Yeah, now we got a better.
Give me another carrot. Give me another carrot. Oh, look at this.
All right, ready?
Hide the carrot.
Are you recording, Doug?
Yeah.
Amy, before you leave, I'm gonna get a photo.
Painting is awesome. What would you say about this particular painting?
Well, I think it's a perfect 10, but I'm biased, of course. He uses lovely colors, and he has the sparkles.
Beautiful.
But we do all different kinds of paintings. And you can see sometimes he gets some on his face, so it gets a little messy, but it's all non-toxic paint, so it's safe for him. It's the same kind that 4-year-olds use in preschool when they make finger paint. So.
And at least he doesn't eat it.
No, he definitely doesn't like the way it tastes.
Well,
so.
I've had some kids at the Hands on the Art, I've had some kids actually sit there, we're talking the little kids, trying
And
to eat the vegetables
like
and dip
paste.
them into the paint, and it's a good dip for them.
It is. No, he won't eat it on purpose, only if it happens to fall in there on accident.
Now, you don't have to wash. He's got a little bit on his mouth. You don't have to worry about that, right? It'll just come off naturally when he drinks and
Yeah,
stuff.
it'll
You don't
wear
have to
off
worry about
pretty
it.
quick. It's usually gone by the end of the day.
So, well, thank you so much for doing this. We just had so much fun watching Benghazi paint.
Thank you.
I'm envious. What kind of events do you have coming up?
We have quite a few events coming up in the summer here at the Oakland Zoo. On Saturday, June 21st, we have a really fun event in the evening for adults 21 and over. Called Walk in the Wild. And that's a great event with lots of delicious gourmet food and wonderful beer and wine vendors all over the zoo, and people can come and enjoy delicious food and drinks and watch all the animals out into the evening, so people can come and see Benghazi here. Please don't eat that. And this is Mabusu. He's one of our other boy giraffes here at the zoo.
Yeah, I see that he wants to paint too.
He wants to know what's happening over here.
Here's where all the treats are. You know, I'd like to take up painting too, I think.
And on June 27th, which is a Friday, we're going to be celebrating the first ever World Giraffe Day.
Oh.
And so people can come to the zoo, and a limited number of people will be able to buy a ticket to feed the giraffes to raise money for giraffe conservation.
Great.
And that's something that's really rare here. We don't do that generally for the public at the Oakland Zoo, so it's a great opportunity to get close to them and get to meet somebody like Benghazi up close and find out a lot more about giraffes and giraffe conservation in the wild.
Well, we've been waiting for this event. We talked about that when you were on the show before.
We did.
And it's very exciting to have it happening.
It is.
And what is the date again?
It is Friday, June 27th.
June 27th. Oh, great. Awesome.
We hope everybody will come.
Yeah, now I see that Benghazi here has a lot of lumps in his throat, so he's really had his fill of carrots, I would think. But you know, I think he could actually just sit here and eat more.
He could. He's a bottomless pit.
Is there a limit that you have to feed him? Is this anything goes? You can feed them as much as they want on this, or they have to have just so much? I mean, you could see he's just like, I'm not done.
Yeah, well, they're very big, so when you weigh 2,000 to 4,000 pounds, you have a lot of room for snacks in your belly. But we do have to be careful what they eat. So things like romaine lettuce, which is what this is, allow us to feed them more because it's good for them, but it doesn't have very many calories, doesn't have sugar or fats that are bad for them, and it has a whole lot of water in it. So it's good for their body. It sort of flushes them, especially on a hot day like this. It hydrates them.
Yeah, very hot. We're talking probably 100.
About 100, yeah. And these are fresh out of the refrigerator, so they're nice and cool like a popsicle if you're a giraffe.
Well, I can see there's no complaints coming from him.
Nope.
And our friend here.
They're easy to please if you have snacks.
So let's see. Now, I think we covered this before. You have 7 giraffes here in this family?
We have 9.
9.
9. So we have a pretty big herd, so it's a great group of animals to come see at the zoo. You'll see lots of great natural behavior, lots of social interactions and relationships between the animals of various age levels. So it's something that everybody will enjoy, from little kids to adults.
When I was pulling up here, I thought maybe I spotted a giraffe that was pregnant. Is that my imagination, or?
It's possible, but I don't think so at this time.
Not yet.
No, no. But we do have some older girls that are a little on the heavy side. So sometimes it looks that way. Did you become a giraffe keeper? And if other people would like to try their hand at this, what do they have to do? I became a giraffe keeper by volunteering here. I did an internship during college, and then came back to volunteer and to visit, and worked my way up the scale from part-time to full-time here. But I have wanted to be a giraffe keeper my whole life, so it was sort of a long-term goal for me.
And you had to go to school for this, and is there a college for this? What do you do?
There are various animal keeper or exotic animal care programs. Most people go to school for biology, zoology, or some kind of related degree and volunteer at a local zoo or do an internship or 2 or 3 and keep applying for jobs. It's definitely a competitive field now, and certainly more competitive now than it was 20 years ago.
Shovel the,
You have to shovel a lot of poop.
First, before
I still shovel a lot of poop.
right.
They're big. They make a big mess.
Yeah, so it's obviously it's worthwhile for you. You're here all the time, though. What is your hours
We
like?
are. Technically, it's an 8-hour day, 5 days a week.
8 hours?
But-
I've heard more from you. It's more than 8 hours.
It doesn't matter what field you're in, if it has to do with animals or children, there's, I think, always extra hours, because whether it's sick people or kids that need something or animals that need your care, generally speaking, I think the people in those jobs are there not because it's a job, but because it's a passion. And so you are here as much as you have to be here to take care of what you love.
And tell us a little bit about your outside work that you've done for giraffes.
We're very involved with the Giraffe Conservation Foundation, with the International Association for Giraffe Care Professionals. We're actually one of the founders of that organization, and various other giraffe conservation organizations around the world. But we do as much as we can to advocate for constantly improving standards for care for captive giraffes, as well as raising money and awareness and research for giraffes in the wild.
And you go on the road for this also.
We do. We go to
Yes.
conferences and
Yes.
meetings around the country, and every once in a while we're lucky enough to make our way to Africa.
Ah, the best part.
It is. It is the best part.
Anything that you would like people to know? You've got a couple minutes here to really, what
I
do
like
you want people to know?
What I would like people to know is that giraffes, I guess about giraffes in general, is that they're extremely intelligent and that they're really
We saw that.
fascinating animals.
Yes,
They're great to come see at the zoo. And that if people come out on the 27th of June, they'll be able to learn a lot more about the conservation of giraffes in the wild and get close to the giraffes we have here.
On the research that you've done, just a little small question here about the intelligence of the giraffe. How would you rate, has there been studies about this, research about this, on where they line up as far as, like, say, elephants or other animals like that?
I think they're extremely intelligent, but what I always say is that every animal is as intelligent as it needs to be to thrive in its environment. So they've survived for many, many years in the wild, and that means that they're intelligent enough to do very well there, as long as people don't interfere.
Wow.
So they're extremely intelligent, and they can problem solve. They're very smart.
They are. I agree with that. If they can paint, quite smart.
That's right.
Thank you so much for
You're
letting us
welcome.
be here today. We had so much fun. Thank
Good.
you.
You're
and
welcome.
I hope we can come back again. Love to talk maybe a little bit in the future. Maybe some elephants or something.
Something different.
Anything. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. And this is Benghazi's masterpiece. Isn't that awesome? It takes a lot of carrots. Maybe if I ate more carrots when I painted, I could do something this nice. We want to give a huge thanks to our friends at the Oakland Zoo, and especially our long-necked artist. Hope you enjoyed the show, and watch again.